Yeah, welcome to Unified Media Dropping Gems podcast. Let's get it.
Unified Media Dropping Gems podcast, season 3, episode 9, revolves around the importance of building community. We will touch base on 10 key points, bringing value and how that can make a difference in one's life being part of a community, including how it can potentially also increase support for business. Like and share this video to those who will find this information useful. Tune into the show once a week, every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, live on YouTube, where we have raw, uncut, open discussions that can range with insightful and educational information across the board. Other episodes will include past and current events, trending topics, conspiracies, personal journey, and so much more. We also invite special guests to shed light on who they are and what professional industry they are in. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, email droppinggemspodcasting@gmail.com with your name, business, industry, social media info, and brief bio. Hosted by yours truly, JL The Truth and Aki ONTL Dewan. Support the show by subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell. We're here, Aki.
Yes, sir, we did.
We're here. I'm going to open up really quick with this quick piece, and this is called Secrets to Building the Most Engaging Community Ever. Check this out.
Casual to audience. So let's move up this pyramid. We're going to now go from active audience, subscribers, followers, etc., now to a connected community. And remember, this is where magic happens. It's not just you talking to them talking to you, but it's them talking to each other. People actually have an identity as a fan of something, right? Like, what do they call? Like, they even have names for their groups, right? Like, fans of Taylor Swift are called Swifties. Fans of Lady Gaga are Little Monsters. Beyonce's Beehive. Fans of Justin Bieber, just weird, right? Just weird. No, I'm just kidding. He's gotten a little bit better. Believers, yes, that's right. Are you a believer? No. He's like, no, I'm not a believer. So this idea of community is really important. I'm going to give you some strategies to help make people feel like they belong, because that's really what we want. We want people to, okay, they've activated, but now we need proof. We need to show that there's other people like them there, and we need to be relatable in some way, shape, or form. So I'm going to take you back in time again to high school. And remember how I was an 11-pound, 12-ounce baby? Well, I, at some point when I was 8 or 9, just stopped growing. Like, I just stopped. I was like, I was ready to play football. I was ready to play all these things. And all of a sudden, all my friends started growing and I didn't. And then I was like, okay, I'll just play soccer because I'm fast. Well, I stopped growing. And I didn't even grow in high school. Just to give you some perspective, here's my senior photo in high school. Yes, young Pat Flynn. To give you some perspective, Trumpet is 18 inches tall. Yeah. Now, the band was nice because I found people who were like me, who were different, who were weird. And in the band, the cool thing is you dress the same as everybody else so that you can blend in. So this was like my refuge, right? Unfortunately, a lot of my friends were also really tall. I had the weird tall friends, and they liked to play basketball. And they were nice, so they asked me to play basketball with them. But you know what? To me, this was my view the entire time. So, of course, because I wasn't great at basketball, they were never passing me the ball. I was always last to get picked, so I never had a chance to shoot. So even though I was on the court with them, even though I was invited to play basketball, was I actually getting any value there? No, I was actually feeling worse about myself. How many of us, just answer this in your head, are inviting people to the court and never passing them the ball? We're never giving them a chance to shoot. We're just kind of dictating everything to them and kind of sharing things without getting them involved. We want to, number one, give people attention, right? This is what people crave today. Attention, that's the new currency online. And then make them feel like they belong. So how might we do that? Let's start small. Let's actually start simple. Let's start by, this is an easy way to engage your audience if you have a community or Facebook group, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever. Ask questions. But I think we can take that one step further. Don't just ask questions. Ask for the answer. What do I mean by that? Well, there's a guy named Steve Spangler awesome scientist. He's very like kid friendly. My kids and I watch him all the time. He does these really cool experiments.
While we're watching, ask questions creates discussion.
He was one of the first people to upload content to YouTube after it transitioned from a dating app. I don't know if you knew that, but it was actually launched on Valentine's Day, I think 2004, 2005, as a dating app. And they were like, this isn't working, but we have this video capability. Anyway, he was one of the first to create content. And when he created content on YouTube, it was scientific, it was educational, and he'd position his videos like this. He would share the experiment. For example, he would suck in air from a balloon, and then his voice would be really low, and he'd be like, okay, this is what happened. It's sulfur hexafluoride, which is much denser than air, so the voice sounds like Darth Vader. Hi, cool. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you think. And you would get the comments that you would expect from a video like that. Cool, or first, right? There's always a first. Cool, where do I get that gas? Awesome, amazing, that's it. But then he was like, I want to engage my audience more. I want this to be like a community on YouTube. How do I do that? So he changed his positioning. Now, and you could even see this today, he does an experiment, and then he doesn't tell you how it happened. He actually asks, why do you think this happened this way? And just that one little change, asking for the answer. I mean, he knows the answer. I mean, obviously. But he's asking to see if anybody in the audience knows it. And you know what happened? There's like fights breaking out in the comment sections. People are pulling out their physics books from college, and they're trying to become the best comment. And of course, he'll pin the best one. Those people feel special. And then everybody fights even harder the next time. This became so popular that he was the first, if not maybe the first, person to get asked to do a YouTube Originals series by YouTube, because he was just getting so much engagement from his videos, simply because he was asking for people's input and then rewarding those or sharing those who had the best answers. So ask for the answer every once in a while. This is a great way to teach and get people involved and allow people to make them like they're being heard, because they are. Now, we'll go from.
And there's so much more in this video. Secrets to building the most engaging community ever. But the fact that somebody can create a YouTube channel around just creating discussion, asking questions to receive answers, and then, you know, highlight whoever has the best answers, created a whole series on YouTube where YouTube wanted him to create something original with the backing of YouTube, which is absolutely amazing. You know what I mean? The potential of just that is crazy to me. You know what I mean?
They saw the potential of the platform progressing with just that. Because the thing about it is, now look, that's why I love having the live chat.
For that right there.
Because
that engagement.
It helps us make that discussion, which makes us even more so give more gems.
Definitely. Because now we can grab, you know, after we ask a question, we're starting a discussion with the people in the chat. They can give us something, which then evolves the discussion even more.
Not only that, they can ask questions.
That too, which builds a stronger rapport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Now we're conversing. You know what I'm saying? And now what we're doing, what the real intercoursing is. We're entering a course of conversation with each other that allows each other's minds to become impregnated with ideas.
Miss Anderson, thank you for being here. Good evening.
So, and when that happens, that's why I love having. That's when you know you're really talking to someone good, is when you're able to have intercourse with them on a conversational level.
100%.
Because that's where the real connection is. It's not the physical part, it's the conversation part that makes it more, because now what you're saying and what you're doing, the tone of your voice, the face, and everything else is all being triggered. And then again, like I said, you're entering a course of conversation, which is back and forth motion of talking, right? Which therefore now gives you the ability to be impregnated with new ideas to formulate, and now you two can come together to raise those ideas and create, you know what I'm saying, masterpieces, or create something, you know, to build wealth.
He mentioned something in the clip where he was like, we're in the era of seeking attention, and then we also want to be a part of something. We
And
also want to be a part of something.
which is good because at the end of the day, that's where we're getting back to wanting to be a part of a family. That's all that's all. If you really look at the world now, the world is starting to realize that what is important, and importance is family. And it's not always your blood that or who you were born by, but those who have community or those who have intercourse with. So it's just like me and you on just to give concept and context. Me and you are both fathers, right?
Mhm.
We have conceived and we have children here now that we have to raise, right? So now we and our partners, we had to come together and create a whole new scenario, a whole new blessing, a way of building wealth and conversation. But now we're building a community because it's not only just us two now. We have
Right.
other members.
Mm.
Now we can work collectively together as a unit and community to go ahead and continue to build for our benefit and for the benefit of our future.
100%. And the benefit of our children and others around us.
That's what, and
Because
that's
what?
our future.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because when we instill in our children, they're instilling in others around them as well as they're growing
Right.
up. So if we're creating leaders, if we're creating young leaders, and they're applying that around their peers,
Mhm.
they're able to establish young leaders as well if they're providing that same information to them.
Welcome in, Snoop. Welcome in, man.
Tyler Cooley, welcome in. Thank you for being here, Snoopy. I'm gonna start with the first key point, guys, while I have everybody here with us. Is the first thing they say is understand your audience. You want to understand their pain points and their roadblocks, which is the struggles and what's standing in their way of success. When asking the right questions, offer the right information and solutions to those roadblocks and solutions to those pain points.
Yeah, and usually with community, it's easy. It's easier to be able to relate to someone when you know or ask the right questions when you understand the scenario and situation.
It's like when we first started. If you think about it, something that you wanted to accomplish was having a podcast where you can provide the insight and the knowledge and the experience that you hold, that you've garnered. How can you be able to give that to those not only around you, but also be able to do it at a larger scale, right? You
Mhm.
spoke that into existence. You found somebody who you were able to partner up with that can create that, right? And we conversed, we had those discussions, and we figured out, okay, this is how we were going to go about doing that. Before we actually established it, we built that rapport.
Right, right,
You
right.
know what I mean? Which is very, very key. Here it also says, understanding your audience, you're going to want to create content around that, discussions, group chats, webinars, and training sessions. When you post post that content on forums to get others to engage, to interact, and talk about it, to share their perspective and their experience.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So it literally talks about that once you build community, find unique ways to utilize that and create more community, essentially.
Of
It's
course.
it's like with what I mentioned to you earlier behind the scenes. Right now, the Soul Fam community, we found ways to bring more exposure to what we provide in the space through tournaments and gifting subscriptions, right? When you gift a sub, it goes to a random person outside of TikTok that has never seen the stream. That person comes in, they like what they see, they like the music, they like the vibe, the energy, what we provide in terms of value and experience, and then they become a subscriber and they get the sub. So it starts to create this revolving door, so to speak.
Nice.
And
That's
then
dope, bro.
and then with the tournaments, we're providing experience, and I call them blessings, because when you're sitting in those boxes during these tournaments, you're receiving gifts that ultimately turn into currency. You can exchange it for currency,
I
right?
appreciate everybody who's gifted me, and you know what I'm saying. And I'm just happy to be a blessing to those that I've gifted.
100%, Aki, 100%.
I look,
And
I really do that out the kindness of my heart. Like I really don't. You ask Jr. Like I hop in when I hop into his lives and stuff like that. Everything that I He don't ask me to do it. He don't tell me.
He just shows up when he just
Show up.
shows up randomly. Just shows up randomly. Pops
I'm
up.
out of nowhere. You feel me?
I
So
don't know where the
out of
label.
nowhere, here I come, boom, and then look at what I'm doing.
I don't know where the
I don't
label.
do it to receive anything. I don't be expecting you guys to send me anything. I do it because I support Aki and his channel, and that's what I really be doing. I just be
I
supporting
appreciate that.
people on his
I
channel.
appreciate that. And when we're able to create those experiences in the space, we'll have moderators capture that content throughout the day, throughout the week, whatever it is, and then we create more pieces. And when we create those pieces, I edit them, I throw them up, and then it entices more people to come through the space because now they're discovering it through the FYP. What's going on here? What's all these gifts that's being thrown through the screen? All this excitement, all these, facial expressions, etc. What's going on in this space? So that's what it means when they say create content, create exposure, and through community. That's one of the ways we go about doing it.
While you guys
in the
are
TikTok
on your
space.
live and you're doing your battles and games, people are screenshotting and stuff.
Screenshot and screen recording it, you know what I mean, where we can establish more content and be able to provide it on the FYP. This second piece, this second key point that's very important is creating a safe space, creating a safe foundation, having a code of conduct, community guidelines, and standards in play. And when you have good moderation can take care and deal with misbehavior that can be taken care of fast, efficient, and fair. And right now we have great moderators in the space. Snoopy's one of them. She's been she's actually the head mod. I know I have never gave her that title, but she knows that. She's literally probably the longest subscriber I've had and the most loyal to me. You know what I mean? And has literally taken care of the community. She says that's me. You see her? She said it right there. Look.
I love Snoopy because of who she is. She's cool.
Oh yeah, she's one of the reasons. Her and another mod named Riri. Riri's been in his arena. There was an instance, Aki, where I was going to hang it up. I was battling a lot mentally, and this is where the con comes into play in terms of building community. When you are trying to create something special, you deal with multiple personalities in the space. Some are for good and some are for worse. And what ends up happening is that you can't cater and help everyone's needs, right? And they seek certain expectation. And when they don't receive that expectation, they look at you as the bad guy. Oh, you didn't provide this, or you said this about me. You couldn't take care of me here. You wasn't there for me there, whatever the case, whatever the situation is. And when you strip people, when you strip people of their power and their responsibility in a space like TikTok, and that's their identity, they feel like you've taken, like if you kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's they feel betrayed by you. They feel betrayed by you, like if you kind of stuck it to them in the back, so to speak, right? So that ended up happening with some moderators before Snoopy became a mod, or she was a mod during this time. And when I stripped that power away from these individuals and their responsibilities, because me and Snoopy and others felt like they weren't doing enough to kind of create more exposure for us. They were just kind of power playing the position a bit and utilizing it for the wrong reasons. The minute we spoke about it, and not publicly, we took care of it behind the scenes. They took it publicly and decided to go to another community and speak ill will of us and create false narratives, which led me into a spiral mentally, because this is my first time experiencing this. And you know my spirit, Aki. I want to see everybody win. I want to see everybody thrive. And when you have others that you've taken care of now talk ill will of you and feel betrayed, when you know you've done so much to create experience and success for them and provide a safe haven, which again we're talking about safe foundation, you start to get into this and you get into a mental meltdown. I had a mental meltdown, you know, and when I was in that box, so to speak, in my head, ready to hang it all up, Snoopy and Zarina were there to tell me, like, hey, just take a couple days off, you know, take a breather, get away from the app, realign yourself, and we'll talk behind the scenes on what we can do to increase the traffic and bring new faces to the community. These were individuals that weren't meant to be here long term. You know what I'm saying? And sure enough, it led to the blessings we have today, months later, where we have a lot of new people coming in offering so much, Aki. Like, I'll mention two right now. Their names is Zuba and Char, right? And Zuba and Char are a young couple about to have their first child. And this particular couple, they're about to create a niche for tarot readings and pendulum readings. You know what I mean? And they're literally on point. Some of the people that have experienced their streams already say that, you know what I mean? The detail of what they do, and the readings that they have are on point. You know what I'm saying? So when you have new people come into the space that just offer something different, and like I mentioned before, there's new perspective, new ideas, new discussions, and that create new innovation for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And right now,
especially when it's a safe place for someone to feel like they can do that. You know what I mean? That's the whole key idea of having a safe place is for it, so someone can feel their idea or their perspective being seen, and you know, and bounce back and you know, continue to create that web.
Mm-hmm. And for me right now, what's happening is I want more people to come in and challenge even my ideas, you know, in a positive way. It's like what you mentioned to me earlier behind the scenes when you were like, yo, Aki, check out this check out what Drewski did and what they created. It was something that we were already talking about doing. And essentially what that does, it gives me a challenge, because now what I can do is I can go in, digest what you provided to me, and find ways to make our opportunity when it's our turn, make it even better. Find a way to make it entertaining, but still valuable, because you know how we are as men, as leaders. It has to be a lesson.
Yeah, and it has to align with the brand of Unified, because everything always has to align. Everything has to align and go well. It's just you can't just go in and just have this whole, you know, this car painted green and then you got your damn side mirrors painted yellow. Like it just, you know what I'm saying, it sticks out. You don't want to do that. You want to be able to, okay, everything is uniform in here when it comes down to what we're trying to do.
And that can be the end result when we think about it. Starting point, right? Then you have plot, climax, the plot that leads to the climax, and then when it gets to the result of unification, that could just be the premise.
Oh yeah, no, always.
You know what I mean?
That's why I wanted to say that, because I want that's the standpoint we stand at as being unified. We're gonna always find a way to be, you know, to unify, because that's what we do. And never in my entire thought process have I ever once, you know, well, maybe once, thought that the world could, you know, just get along. And in that same thought process, I had a vision of it and it just didn't look right. You know, I'm not saying we were always at war. What I'm saying is that we don't always agree on everything, because we always see everything differently. So it's just, you know, I looked at that's just what I looked at as, like, you know, this is just how it's going to always be in terms of this. So, you know what I'm saying, let's try to, you know, stay on one accord, but not be so violent when it comes to, you know, when it comes to dealing with each other. We can deal with each other in a different way. And I think that's what the best part about the community is everybody's still themselves, but but can now deal with each other in a more respectable way.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Because they learned from that situation right there. Because that situation is petty and it was not called for.
100%. 100%, Aki. Here it says on the Safe Foundation, don't squash challenging, uncomfortable ideas. Great things come from disagreements when people discover a common understanding or something new. And I think me and that young boy could have created something special if he had a common understanding of what we were trying to accomplish when those things occurred between me and that individual. And Unified Media. You know what I mean? Man. Because you know me enough that I would have had no problem with him responding, and then afterwards we could have had a conversation behind the scenes and said, how did that work out for you?
I'll put it to you like this, Aki. That beef, that situation ain't even a beef. That little situation, a little episode would have been a great episode for our show.
Right. Right,
but then
it still can be.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you take the Kendrick and the Drake situation too, and look at that situation between you and him, you know what I'm saying? All, if he would have just responded, you know what I mean, it would have been good, because then we could have turned. It was a way to turn that whole situation back around
into something special,
to show unification again. You know what I mean? Like and it still can happen. It still can happen, but that person still, I don't think, is ever going to reach that perspective we have for it to get to that, because that'll be a golden opportunity to entice and enhance the brand for that situation.
100%, Aki, 100%. Snoopy says here, well, Lorena Anderson says, "So fam, I love you all. That quote, family, that was the worst, and still is to go through it and be a part of getting that out and thriving now is amazing. I'm so proud to have my Soul Fam." Lorena, is there somebody, Lorena, I have a quick question. What is your TikTok name in the Soul Fam community? Because I know this is probably your government name. So what is your TikTok name in the Soul Fam community? And then Snoopy here says, everything has a beginning and an end. What is important is what is in the middle. Interesting. Oh, that's Noni. Noni, welcome in. Noni is the competitor of the Soul Fam community. She doesn't. She comes in wanting to win most of the tournaments. She's always speaking, wanting to win the tournaments, and is always the first one that gets knocked out of the tournament. Noni. And Beth, who's Beth? Who's Beth in the chat? I see Beth down there. Beth, thank you for being here. Beth, what's your TikTok name, Beth? I love that. Yeah, thanks for tapping in. We love us the Soul Fam. We appreciate it. This next key, this is the third key. This next key is sharing insight. A sense of value and belonging occurs. For example, if a group of 100 people can share different ideas, experiences, the amount of time that they spend in specific areas around the world, things that they have learned, it can cultivate amazing perspectives and give people a reason to want to return. And right now we're closing in on 130 people on the Discord. And in the Discord, we have all walks of life, Aki. All walks of life. People who are gardening, growing vegetables out in the back. We have one young lady. She's her name is Selena. And Selena has a chicken coop. She grows her vegetables, her fruits. They lay eggs. She the one with the information. She right. Book out on how to do it. Listen, I'm about, Aki, see, this is why, I'm gonna write that down. She can create a book on how to grow all of the shit that she got, and how to farm a chicken, how to form a garden. Look at that. See, and people will buy it just because they want to know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm interested in it. I'm gonna have that conversation with her. Aki, I'm gonna have that conversation when she hops in.
Because now because she has insight on different minerals, herbs, and things that are great for the body. The insight that can heal you with different diseases, that can help you
Yo.
with, because she's growing food.
And this is why, once we grow that garden, this is why it's so important to get this book, The Lost Book of Herbal Remedies. After you grow that garden, get this book.
Hey
The
man,
Lost Book of Herbal Remedies.
you make sure you tell that author y'all need to have a conversation.
Listen, man. So how to form a garden, how to create a garden. Selena, we're gonna have that conversation in the high level the next time. I know right now she's on a trip, she's on vacation, she's
Enjoy, Selena.
driving
enjoy.
her family back home. She said, don't forget the chickens and the rabbits. But she's not eating the rabbits. She's not eating the rabbits though.
Nah, but see, I mean, but you have. I mean, think about it like that. Like she don't need to go to a grocery store to get what she needs to eat. To
I know,
survive.
man. That's crazy.
And you know what I mean. And then the fact that, you know, when people who do those things, they harvest the ones for themselves to eat, and then they harvest the ones for them to grow, to produce for the next generation, so therefore they can have for the next season, right? So, you know, those things come into matter. It's a different type of mind frame and different thing out in the agricultural field. I understand, because I was in landscaping, but you know, that's a person. Though people who do those things have a real way of sticking to eating real food and become very healthy and live a long time, because they're eating real food. They're not eating
Right. They're not eating what's being
kill you.
Right. Long term. This next fourth point. This is the fourth key point in building community. Is conversation starters like this podcast. Interesting discussions and probing more questions helps people feel more involved and a part of something. For example, asking a question like, what are 5 great financial literacy books that you have read? And how have you applied them? What information have you found the most beneficial? So like when you create community, when I'm on my Discord, I do something called a well-being check. And I ask people, hey, how's everybody doing? What's the latest news? You know, and then when somebody responds and says, I'm going through whatever, then I go again and I respond by providing more insight. You know what I'm saying? I just don't leave them on red.
Of course not.
You know what I mean? You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's another, that's the next one after that is, you know, being responsive. On TikTok, there's this like this robotic way of people sending links out with no information attached to it through Discord. For me, what I found successful is the fact that when I send my link out, I send a small description of what they can get in terms of my hosting style before they even jump in. This is what we're providing. Check this out. And I put a little description along with the link. And then when people reach out to me in terms of asking for like certain issues, or they're trying to figure something out with their hosting style, they reach out to me either through DM on TikTok or DM on Discord, and I'm responsive. I might not get to it right away, but when I get to it, you'll get some information from me. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was one of the valuable things that I mentioned today during the stream while we were having an exhibition, is that everybody on TikTok, and this probably can match anywhere on any given business, everybody's holding on to information that they don't want to give you because they see you as the threat. When you know that what we're trying to do is, if I provide you information that can help you win, I don't lose. You know, and if more people thought that way, we would have more winners and more influence and more opportunity.
If I have a bowl of soup, you may have half of my bowl of soup, and anything else. That is a motto that my family goes by. That's why I love Dropping Gems podcast, because if I have a bowl of soup, if I have something important or something valuable for you, you may have half of this value that I see in it.
Love that, Aki. Beth says here, and asking group questions like, what did everybody do for the fourth? Which we did mention in the stream as well. Like Noni said, you did that in the live as well. Asking questions, checking up on people. How did their holiday go? Who did you celebrate with? What did you do during your holiday? I mentioned that in the Discord as well. I was like, how did everybody spend their 4th of July? Was it the pool? Did everybody go to the beach? Did they do the barbecue? Did they visit their parents? I know I took the kids out to bowling and some arcade, and then they watched a movie called In and Out. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they go 65
Inside Out.
rows. Yeah, Inside Out.
Yeah,
And that movie dropped a lot of gems, Aki.
I know.
Bro,
Tapped in with it.
I
You seen the
was
first one?
bugging.
I went to go see the second one, right?
I saw the second one. I saw the first. I didn't get to see the first one, but I saw the second one.
See the first one.
See the first one.
Now you understand the second one. See the
Right.
first one first.
Yeah.
And now you understand it. No, Inside Out is my children, they love that show, that movie, because to them, they're understanding emotions through that show. And we help, which helps us in teaching them how to respond and react to certain things. You get what I mean? So they know the difference between sad, mad, upset, disgusting, and things like that. But we utilize it because they love watching the different emotions, and we help cultivate their minds with it, just because it's the way they're displaying it and portraying it into that movie. So it's a good
Yeah, that movie, I was shocked, Aki, by watching the film. Like, I'm enjoying the entertainment aspect of it, but when I'm really sitting there watching like the lessons that they were providing, I was like, I see what they're doing here. You know what I'm saying? And the way they broke it down uniquely through a cartoon, I was like, man, what we need to give our children is like, once those emotions strike, what they can do to capture it so they don't react with emotion and they react with logic instead. To catch a moment to be like, well, why am I getting this upset? Or why do I feel sad? You know what I mean? And do something to try to snap out of it, as opposed to being emotionally responsive, which can lead to worse circumstances.
This is what happened on the first one. If you watch the first one, it kind of encapsulates from the time the baby is born and how the feelings and emotions start about. So what those emotions and memories and things like that come to and create the personality, and then what happens when other emotions are taking place. When each emotion has its opportunity to shine at its pertinent time and place. Because in the first one, it kind of graduates the emotion when the child is growing up. So you know how we all go through as we're growing up, and as children, we grew up through a phase where we had that phase of just being super sad. Well, in that movie, the girl only became super sad because the change change in her life came. She moved from a place where she was born and raised at and grew up at, to a whole new area that was so brand new. So the emotion that became very heavy was sadness. And so, that's what people kind of pay attention to. So I'm not promoting, I'm not getting paid to promote the movie or anything of that nature. I'm just saying what a great show it is in relation to when it comes down to building a community and having community. When you start understanding emotions and how to properly handle your own and stuff like that, you can commune with others and help them and understand their emotion. Because there's a lot of us out here that are grown aged people in a sense, and still don't understand our own emotions or what they mean, or how what they do to us, even at our certain stages of life.
100%. Love that, Aki. The next point is, again, being responsive with community. Ask for input, post on forums and blogs, or if you have a Discord, right? And when you receive insight, respond back. When community shares a perspective or opinion, you have some kind of response. Engage with your people. And I want to mention something with 65 Rows Athletics, for instance. I know 65 Rows Athletics personally in Oklahoma, right? He's a dear friend of mine. We met at a gym. He trained me briefly. He's the personal trainer, right? Now he has his own functioning app, his own fitness program. And I've been doing it for the past 6 months, right? And I'm down almost 20 pounds. I'm already etching towards like my first weight goal. And then once I hit my weight goal, we're going to be doing the bulking season. Now, Riri being in the community and coach also being in the community, right? Especially on Discord when we have those high level conversations, them seeing my results led Riri to go ahead and push her to go, yo, I need to have this conversation, this consultation with coach. Let me see what this can lead to for me, which entailed helped Riri connect to her sister, her younger sister, I believe, right, Riri? Her younger sister, and now her younger sister is actually considering having a consultation as well. So it's that revolving door of building community, having different people of different facets, different industries coming in,
Look at
offering their expertise. Older
that.
sister,
Her older
copy.
sister starts
Look,
next month.
her
That's
sister
hard.
starts next Monday,
That's
and
dope.
then
That's dope.
look, and this
That's
is what's so special about this, Aki, is that when 65 joined the Discord, I showed him the potential of what building a community on TikTok can lead to, not only for my personal business, but also for his business as too, if he's willing to engage and build the rapport. And obviously he's in that world. He knows what it takes. He's, you know what I mean? He's somebody that you can have a conversation with and enjoy. And he's been more engaged at points than even I am, that he'll be in Discord showing like his, you know, where he's going, what he's working on in the house, and he's building that experience with them. So it makes it that much easier to have those conversations with him when they're ready to go ahead and start his program.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, so
I mean, because essentially, at the end of the day, anytime you doing business or just wanting to have a relationship and be involved in with other people, excuse me. Essentially, you just want to know a person. You just want to know who you are dealing with, right? You want to know who you are dealing with, and in a community, because there's multiple people there, you have multiple personalities, multiple points of views, multiple different things. Everybody has to get the opportunity to kind of understand everybody's perspective, and that's where you want to develop these questions, get insights, and get different things that help you understand the next person, and you can see where in that conversation how you can help each other if there's help needed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where you can utilize your strengths to someone else's weakness.
100%.
At the end of the day, and I feel like that's a good thing about community, and the one thing I love about all of the community members and Soul Fam, Unified Media, and stuff like that. Like, at times, everybody understands me and understands ONTL, and we're out of nowhere to label. We're always connected, but we may not always be present. If that makes sense. And 100%. It's not, and it's not in that way. It's just like it's to the same effect as what Dr. Dre says about Kendrick, because of how Kendrick was and Drake was. Kendrick is such a great artist that he can go and create art and go and then leave for 5-something years and come back with another great piece of artwork, and it'll seem like he never left. And
right.
That is the epitome of out of nowhere to label, and what I have and what it is, and I always will be like that. But I love about the community because everybody understands that about me, and I understand everybody else and how they are. You know what I'm saying? I always take the time out to try to understand people. I never judged anybody. I'll put it to you like this: I never really judged people for what they do. You know what I mean? I won't say what they do. I never really judge people for what they really do, because sometimes what people do shows you who they are, and then when you understand who they are, you just learn how to maneuver and deal with them. You know what I mean? So there's different ways of dealing with people, and I try to be the most politest and nice way, not too straightforward, but straightforward enough to where it's like, okay, I considered your feelings, or I considered your emotion, understanding where you come from, or understanding how you think and your thought process.
And I think that's what makes you a leader, Aki, is the fact that you can you can understand from both sides of the table, so to speak, from both perspectives, from both shoes. And that's an important trait to have, because if you just see it one way, you're only going to get one outcome.
That's
You know what I mean? And there's other ways that things can be handled when you understand both sides of the table. One of the things that I find very special in our space and that I advocate for is that I don't undermine or overlook anyone. I don't have favorites. I might have a different relationship
Of course,
with
of
certain people, right? But I don't have favoritism. You know what I'm saying? I see the potential in people. Like, for instance, I'm gonna highlight Tyler Cooley real quick. Tyler is a young man. We call him the baby face of the community. He's the baby of the community. He's part of another wonderful community called OGPR on TikTok, right? And they're kind of like an agency / community. And what Tyler does is that he's involved in the wrestling business. He's been watching mainstream wrestling since he was, an infant, all the way up to now to his youth. And he's also he's also in the independent wrestling scene as well. So he hosts his own podcast within the independent wrestling scene, and then he's also a ring announcer. Now, what I like about this kid is that, in our space, he just steps up. He just steps up in our space and was kind of like the unofficial moderator, so to speak, and handling and taking care of the chat for me while other people were down, while Snoopy was gone for a little bit. And he just stepped into that role. And when you have young people like that are that eager and are that hungry to want to take on a responsibility, and you see the potential in them, I decided to go ahead and make it official. And then when I made him official moderator, I'm gonna make a joke here, Tyler, because I know you're there down there somewhere. The minute I made him official mod, he was nowhere to be found. He was nowhere to be found, Aki. He hasn't been able to mod the room at all since he's been an official mod in the last 48 hours. But I can attest the fact that he's probably been busy with his own podcast. He's probably been busy with, the independent wrestling scene, doing the shows, doing the interviews, handling his business. So when I saw him come into the stream today, I was like, Bud, let me know if you can't handle the moderator position no more. I'll give it to somebody else. And he was like, no, I got it. I'll take care of it. So we appreciate you, young Tyler, for stepping into that responsibility, stepping into them shoes. But
now, you have to cater to those type of things right there. You know what I'm saying, in regards to like not showing favoritism. Like you're not showing favoritism towards him. You're just catering to him wanting an opportunity to create for himself and seeing
right.
And so you get cultivating and helping them with it, and it's not that you're showing favoritism towards anything, but people always pick up on that, and at the end of the day, that's how you have to look at it. You have to just look at knowing when you have energy that you're going to go give to other people. When you see someone who has the potential and then they're tapping into their potential, and you know all that they need is just a little bit of push and the guidance and a little bit of more direction, then you tend to cultivate and nurture that, and then you'll watch it grow from there. And some people see it as favoritism, but it's just like, no, you're just doing what you know is best for yourself in a situation and opportunity that you was presented for someone else's betterment.
Let's before we go into halftime in a few minutes, for the ones that are tuned in the chat, give Aki, well, actually, let me ask the chat, what's one of the key things that you guys enjoy about the community, starting with Lorena, and then everybody else can follow suit. What's one of the key things that you appreciate about the community? What is the value that you see in the community? Let me know down in the chat. How do you guys feel about SoulFam? What keeps bringing you back? What keeps bringing you back to the SoulFam community? What is it that you enjoy about it? We want to see them answers down below, and then we can reflect on those answers.
I'll tell you this, Aki. It keeps me in the SoulFam and do what I do. Nice. Is it's safe. I've never met any one of you in real life at all.
Right.
Me and the way y'all see me and JR conversate, relate on here, and we never met each other ever a day in real life at all. Like never physically ever shook each other's hand at all. Met from a billboard in New York. Okay. It's a strange way to meet, but it's it's one of those things. But me not being able to me not meeting you in real life and seeing how you interact and how you become vulnerable and you feel safe to express things to me, and we've had conversations, intimate conversations about different things about each other's lives and things of that nature, and different things that we've been through that a lot of people don't truly know, and we won't ever really tell anybody else because it's nothing for us to do so. But the fact that there has never been a judgment passed, I've never judged you, you never judged me in a way of disrespecting the person. You know what I'm saying? You just took me for who I am, and I took you for who you are. It keeps me coming back just as a person. Like I always know that in this space and in this place that I can share some stuff about my life and share something, or just give an experience about something I'm going through, and it'll be received in a way where I'll get some perspective on it, I'll get insight on it, and I'll get praise when needed for my accomplishment. What I mean? Without judgment, without envy, without hatred, without jealousy, without all of the negative things that come when someoe's trying to just share their happiness with others.
Love that,
So
Aki.
that.
I appreciate that. Noni says the family closeness we have. Snoopy says, I don't leave the house, so the community is my social life. I have a safe place to be. Noni says, I'm closer to most of y'all than some of my own personal family. And then Riri says, for me, it's the positivity. No matter how my day is going, I can count on the Soul Fam to uplift me. Deep. Deep, Aki. Deep.
Speaks volumes. It just further exemplifies. That's the best word I can get. It just further exemplifies the vision, the awareness, the brand, the lifestyle. I'm gonna say that unified media is a lifestyle. It's not not even a brand, a business.
Right.
It's a lifestyle. To be unified in a way where you can show it, because that's basically what I'm saying. Unified shows unification.
100%. 100%. On that note, guys, we're going to take a quick intermission. And when we come back from this quick intermission, we're going to be talking about the next 5 key points that are going to be validate, inclusive, leadership, celebrating wins and life stories, and being intentional. So we'll be back after this quick intermission piece. Check out this video and let me know what you guys think.
I'm about to share something with you that's going to bring you such immense relief. Are you ready? I'm going to talk to you about how the 80-20 principle applies to community building. First of all, what is the 80-20 principle? The 80-20 principle is also called the Pareto principle, and it is this concept from way, way back in all these different contexts, from the economic to the social to communities, that dictates that about 20% of your inputs give you 80% of your outputs. That means that 20% of the time you spend generates 80% of your productivity, that 20% of your customers generate 80% of value for your organization. This rule applies to communities. And I know because I've seen it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Success is not 100% participation, 100% engagement, even 100% logging in and looking at your platform. Instead, success is between 4 and 20% of your members meaningfully engaging with one another. That's right. You only need between 4 and 20% of your members to be active in order to be deemed a success. This is true because people come to your community for all kinds of reasons. They might be coming to learn something. They might be coming to meet people who can help them on their way to some goal that they might have. Whatever it is, people are coming for a variety of reasons, and they bring with them a variety of contexts. They might be parents, they might be caretakers, they might be pet parents like me, they might be athletes, they might be, you name it, they might be it. And not everyone is coming to your community. In fact, no one is coming to your community with a completely blank slate. People are so busy. They are committed to many things, and your community is just one of the things that is important to people, hopefully. But between 4 to 20% of your membership, your community should be an important part of how they think about who they'd like to become or the progress they'd like to make in their lives. If your community doesn't mean anything to them in those senses, they're not going to show up. They're not going to participate. This is something that Charles Vogel and I talk about quite a bit in the book Building Brand Communities. If people are not making meaningful progress, that there's not progress, choice, and connection with other people, they will not continue to participate. But the Pareto principle dictates that you really only need between 4 and 20% of your members to generate over 80% of whatever value might be created by your community. So why do I say between 4 and 20 if the 80-20 principle is 80-20? Where does the 4 come from? What I've noticed in my work is that time and time again, there's not 20% of members that are hyper engaged, but instead 20% of that 20% are your critical members in your community. You live and die by these members, okay? They are your ride or dies, as I've talked about before. They are so important. Without them, your community might crumble. And I've heard this from really large communities as well as really small communities. This operates both at the small micro scales and the macro scales. Now, this doesn't mean to aim low. What it actually means is that you should spend a disproportionate amount of your time, let's say 80% of it, focusing on those 4% of members who are showing up again and again. They're contributing, they're active, they're reaching out to you with feedback. If you nurture that core, you will see incredible returns. Incredible returns. Oftentimes when we look at the results that communities can create, whether that means increased lifetime value, increased word of mouth marketing, all kinds of these incredible outcomes that organizations say they want, what we're really seeing is 4% of people are often creating most of that outcome. And what you're seeing is that other people are benefiting immensely from the work of others, whether that means that 4% of people are organizing regional meetup groups and the rest of people are showing up, whether it means 4% of those people are responding to a lot of questions, whatever it might be. You really, really want to focus on that core, those 4% of members. Now, if you have a group of 100, I want you to think about who are the top 4 people who, if you develop deeper relationships with, it would have an enormous impact for the rest of the community. And really spend your time there, develop those relationships, because I promise that you will have a way better outcome if you focus on just those 4 than if you focus on 40 people who aren't quite right for the community. This should bring you immense comfort, because it really means that success does not look like 100% of people participating, but rather something between 4 and 20. And that is a much more attainable goal. And as I said earlier, this applies at the micro and macro scales. I've seen it in communities of 100, and I've seen it in communities of 100 million. Truly 100 million, all scales. So that's where you want to focus your time and energy. The 80-20 principle is really what should be guiding you, not 100% success, but actually just 4 to 20. Good luck out there and happy community building.
The 80-20 rule, Aki.
She literally just said what I just said right before we got to the break, bro.
The 80,
when I said that you're not showing favoritism towards anybody, but you're crafting and honing and cultivating someone's skills because of their showing that they see an opportunity and they're taking the opportunity.
Right.
That's what helps the community build. It gets stronger.
And she was also mentioning how, focusing on the 4 individuals that are helping you cultivate the community and the success in that space. One being you, Aki. None of this would be possible without you, brother. Absolutely none of it. The wisdom, the experience, the perspective, like everything that you provided, not only in this space for others, but for me, pushes me to want to create even more for all of us. You know what I mean? I'm constantly in my head trying to figure out, okay, what's going to be the next move when this thing takes off, and what are we going to prepare for? So that way, preparation meets opportunity equals success. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like right now we're still in the preparation phase, but once we create that opportunity, like you mentioned with the Drewski thing, the fact that we foresaw that years ago before even he decided to develop the idea lets us know where we're headed and the visionaries that we are, you know. And then if I can pick 3 off the top of my head when it comes to the community and Soul Fam, Snoopy would definitely be one. Zarina would be another. And then I could probably, the third one right now, ooh, I would have to think about them. But in terms of like support, like a person that's been very supportive in this space, helping others succeed, Noni. Noni. We love you, Noni. We love you. I would throw the third cup right now to somebody who we're trying to help garner a name for them, because we like to help other people host their own streams and create success for them as well through their own niches. Right now would probably have to give that to Charlie's. Charlie's is an individual that comes into the space and helps people get into all kinds of tournaments. She's, you know, she throws big gifts. I mean, things that we can't even compete with in terms of like trying to reciprocate. It's hard to reciprocate somebody who throws like that. The community knows this. So I want to definitely shout out Charlie's. But, you know, everybody in the community pitches in their time, their effort, their blood, sweat, and tears, and time you can't get back. That is the most valuable thing that you can offer. And everybody who's there every single day offers that. So everybody contributes in such a major way.
Hey man, everybody got a position, and then as long as you play in your position well, the whole team win.
Yeah. Because the success of the Soul Fam has been extreme. And right now, we were going through a phase, like I told you, where people wanted to. There was a whole other community trying to knock us down, Aki, where they didn't even want us in the space no longer. That they would grab video clips of me talking publicly about something, and then you would use that video clip and, you know, throw their twist to it of what I was supposedly doing. And I would tell people, when people would have a certain hesitation when they came across the video, to be like, or question, you know, who I am and my reputation, I would tell people right off the bat, look at that video, right? And then look at the experience that you have. When you just look at it for face value. You know what I mean? If you're not experiencing what you see in the video, how can you even believe what's being told to you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you know, it's edited. They grabbed a certain piece and just threw whatever spin they wanted to throw on it. And I'm telling people, if I was being any way malicious in our space, why would I say anything publicly? I would just do it behind the scenes where nobody can hear, you know, or be able to utilize that against me. If I'm going to be malicious, we're going to do it in the dark. We're not going to do it in the light. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just glad that the ones who saw it for what it was stuck out with you, and we were able to overcome that challenge. And there's going to be more challenges coming to the space, because right now, you know what we're dealing with right now, Aki? People are coming through the space and just copying and pasting everything we do. Literally. Like my hosting style, the things that I provide in the space. Everybody is just like taking it. You'll see them host and they'll try to replicate what we got going on, which is humble. I'm humbled by that, Aki. You know, I'm humbled by that. But at the same time, they don't want to give you your recognition for it. It's almost like they want to make it their own, like if they came up with the idea, and that's not even the case. And that's just that's a part of being innovative. That's a part of creating community where people are going to see something, they're going to be inspired by it, and they're not knowing that that's 10 months of blood, sweat, and tears. of hard work. You're not going to be able to just grab that, go live, and think that you can do that. There's just no way.
No, I can't. I mean, and it always has something to do with the individual too. At the end of the day,
People are always trying to cut corners, Aki.
yeah, but people gravitate to the individual too. That's why the people who cut corners always gravitates to the people with the real deal. Like I was just telling my wife right now, I have a certain place where I just relax and be chilling by myself, right? And I don't mind having other people around or anything like that either. But it's just quite funny because for a long time, I was just me by myself, and all of a sudden, certain people starting to come around, and it's not that I have a problem with them coming around. It's just that I had created that, what I'm saying, that space for me. Now I have to. I found a way to shift the community, to shift it. So therefore, it's like it's cool, but I don't keep myself too much attached to it. Um, and the reason why is because you don't want to build when building community, you don't want to build with the wrong community.
Mm.
Like Lorena was saying earlier, she was so glad to get out of that community because the community she probably was in wasn't what she foresaw it to be or thought it was, and didn't align with her spirit and stuff like that. And that's kind of how I see it. When it comes down to being building a community and being and then dealing with other people, you want to know how to do it and do it in the right manner and stuff like that. But you don't want to do it with the wrong people, man. You don't wanna
And it
do
has to align with your values, your morals, your principle, your ethics, your goals. It has to align, because if it doesn't align, there's going to be friction down the line.
Well,
You know
I
what I
feel
mean?
like if what you're doing doesn't align with who you are, you're not gonna have the right questions asked. You're
Mm.
not gonna have the opportunities you're looking for won't be presented. There's different other factors
And
that
if you don't got the right questions to ask, you're not going to get the right answers.
you never will get the right answer because you're not asking the right question. And in order to ask the right question, you have to be put in a position and see what needs to be asked
Mm.
in order, what I'm saying, like. And usually what happens is, like, in order to do that, especially when it comes to community, and this is something that the whole community can work on, you know you when it comes to building community, there's 5 questions we should be asking ourselves daily, and then 5 questions we should be asking others when it comes to wanting to know or getting to know, is who, what, where, when, how. And then of course
Mhm.
the ultimate question, why, which is 6. But you want to ask those questions, who, what, where, or at least when you're talking or conversating, you have a who, what, when, where, how, and why in your story,
Mm.
in your communication. So therefore, because of those questions, you can find the right question to ask. Who do I gotta speak to? What is it that I gotta say? When do I gotta meet him so I can say this? You know what I'm saying? Where is the location at, so I know that I'm in the right building and place? You know what I'm saying? And why is it that we need to have this conversation? And you get all of those different questions answered.
Mm.
You've asked all of the right questions. Now you're on your way of having a understanding
Mm.
or a foundation, something you can stand on that is solid and won't break it, which is verification, support, and confirmation.
Oh, we got a question for you, Aki. Just an FYI, Dewan, are you going to the meetup next year? So what we plan on doing, Aki, is within a year, well, we plan on doing a Soul Fam retreat, and we were gonna pick a city and state where everybody can get to that's reasonable, and probably have like an Airbnb or whatever. What would be crazy now thinking about it is if we document that, how special that would be as well. You know what I mean? Because now you're creating something that, in a space of building community. Now you're meeting everybody in person, and you're going to be able to shake them hands, and make those hugs.
I
And
mean,
they're thinking Colorado. You
I
know,
never been to Colorado. I know Colorado is nice. I seen I seen in the real estate uh I was watching some real estate. They had this $30 million home that can fit 20. It has 26 bedrooms that they rent it out for Airbnb.
Really?
It's crazy.
I know they're making a killing.
Indoor jacuzzi. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because you can't rent it out. You can't Airbnb it.
They probably have a limit to like a specific amount of time.
At least 10 to 15 people have to go in with you in order to Airbnb. You can't get it. You can't book it without that many people.
Yeah, you need that because it needs to reach its occupancy, and also people have to be able to afford that because I know it ain't cheap.
Come on, bro. If you think about it, you have a $30 million mansion that sits on the island on a hill by itself on top of the thing right there, 20 minutes away from the city where you can go get all your stuff.
Gotta wonder what that person's occupation is, Aki. They definitely don't live. Well, they could still live in Colorado in a different mansion, but
they live in. Come on now, if they're Airbnb
being a $30 million estate
that got 3 levels to it, its own big old pool, jacuzzi, game room, movie theater.
Aki, we're shooting like 5 music. We're shooting like 5 music videos that we.
And you would think it was in 3. It was in 17 different locations, and it's in one house, just in 17 different locations of the house. Like
wicked.
That's how big it was. But it was going for a nice price though. Like of the 15 people that Airbnb, you probably would have to pitch in 5 to 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Just
that's not bad. That's not bad.
No, but you're there, and that's per person. But you're there. But you're there for a week or so. It's like they have it where it makes sense when you're paying for it. Because
that's amazing.
You got to go enjoy the mansion, bro. Like I said, it has hot tubs in there. It has an indoor pool, outside pool, and lake with the what they call it, a fountain and a little, you know what I'm saying, a diamond board outside, a game room. They have all, like I said, the 26 bedrooms, and I think like 14 or 15 bathrooms in there. Everything's plushed out, big old kitchen, everything, you know what I'm saying? And it have different amenities that has the ceiling in the living room is the third story. It's like in the living room, it goes up, like the highest ceiling. I'll start my GoFundMe now. That's the one we need.
You gonna have Snoopy working on it. I'm telling you, they're gonna start collecting and getting their funds together and looking at places. Even if it's not that one, we can find something. We can find something similar. But I mean, with the community as big as it is, and we really get the retreat off the ground, $5,000 to $1,000 shouldn't be too hard to gather up to be able to experience something that's special.
You could say,
and then we could just drive to Colorado. Colorado's a drive.
That's for some,
for some. I know that's kind of deep for you on your side of town.
Yeah, Colorado. Because I drove to Utah and it took us 8 hours to drive to Utah. I drove to Texas. It took us about 20 hours to drive to Texas.
20 hours to Texas.
I don't mind to Colorado.
For something like that.
Yeah, but it got to make sense.
Nah, definitely. Getting on to the 6th key point in building community: validation. Validate. Encourage people. Let them know when they're doing great at something or telling others what they can work on to become better at that specific skill. People want to stick around a place where they feel appreciated.
Always. Come on. Who don't want to? Come on. Why would you want somebody else to appreciate you? You know your gift. You know what you offer. You know what you bring. If somebody else is not appreciating that, why you want to sit there and deal with that if they don't appreciate that? You know what I mean? So you always, the validation. Always, although I find it funny because we're in a day and age where they always say, with Instagram, we're in a day of gratification, you know what I'm saying? Instant gratification. Like you want to be gratified and appreciated right away, which I again, there's nothing wrong with that. However, because of their wanting to be indent, you know what I'm saying? The wanting to be and wanting to be validated, it sometimes it helps certain people, and sometimes it hinders certain people, but you always want to help validate someone or help boost them to get them where to go in the most positive way. You know what I'm saying? Because you do it in a negative way, it won't look good.
What's she Noni says, because of lack of validation growing up, I thrive for that even now at 55 years old. So people at that age who lack validation growing up are now seeking that.
Yeah, but
Wow.
and I'm good man. I'm glad you are, and you can become validated here. You know, just don't take the wrong validation. Don't let somebody validate you in the most negative way, because, like, again, some people who are seeking the validation seek it, and they will belittle themselves to the lowest form to get it.
So they won't be a set of standard.
That can happen. That's just a result of, from that lack of
right. Not giving themselves a standard to be able to seek the right validation.
Right.
Because the wrong validation can be utilized against you, or you can then be taken advantage of.
I'm sorry, but Big Sexy Red, that's the wrong validation.
Who is that?
She's a rapper. I'm not hating.
Is that the one that was on Drake's or Drake featured or jumped on a record or something like that?
Yeah. But her image and what she's representing and stuff like that. That's being validated in the wrong way. It's being glorified. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, and not really validated.
Right.
It's being glorified and not validated, because it's I have nothing against her or who she is, but I don't agree with how she is presenting herself in the world for as a person getting put in position of someone to be modeled after.
And that's what they want, and that's what they want to provide now in this era is, let's give them a lack of or give our young generation idiocracy to look up to, in a sense. Forgive me for saying this, because I've grown up, but ghetto as well, to look up to look as value by our young generation. And and then you have artists who have substance and are offering something through their records that are not able to even scratch the surface of breaking through the radio, because they want to dumb down the masses and think this is the right way to represent yourself, in public or whatever the case may be, in an out setting. Yeah.
And it's not good. It's just one of those things where everybody has a place to be in this world, right? Everybody has a place. We all stand there, and a lot of us are here as examples for everyone, right? And some of us are good examples, some of us are bad examples. And now, you know what? I ain't even gonna say bad examples. Some of us are examples of what can happen, and if you take your situation and not, make it a positive one. Because I would say, like Big Six, her situation, I feel like she's a good entertainer, but what I'm saying, her audience, I feel it shouldn't have been. I feel she shouldn't be as big as she is for of her platform, not for her not to be successful, but just for she belongs to me in the adult entertainment world, where her content, so it stays in that world only, and it's not overspilling
into
what I'm saying, the PG-13.
Right.
That's all I'm advising.
Makes sense.
I'm not against who she is and what she is. It's just I don't like how it is being portrayed,
pushed.
You get what and that's when it comes down to that. When it comes to validating someone, I'm validating her, not glorifying what she does, but validating her by giving her some insight, or giving some direction as to what can better even make sure her plan goes better. What I'm saying? Or her brand goes better. And but the unfortunate thing about it is why she will win so much right now is because she literally the world has been overly exposed to the content she creates. And so unfortunately we can't hide that. But that was my only thing. Again, I don't know who she is as a person. I don't think she's a bad person at all. I just,
Right.
if we can get back to where those boundaries and standards are set when it comes down to the things that we put out in the universe, and keep them where they need to be, and those who need to dabble and and jump in there can jump in there at their own leisure, but not for a worldwide entertainment, then I feel like we do better as humanity.
Definitely, 100%, Aki. Snoopy says here, I'm a strong Latina woman. I don't look for validation, but I do, excuse me, I do look for validation, but it has to be good validation. You never see me being weak. Noni says the lack of praise, the lack of thank yous, the lack of I love you more now, I hold them dear. I'm not weak, just saying that. And then Snoopy says, Noni, never saw you being weak. You're a very strong woman.
I feel like nobody's really weak. Everybody's strong. They're just, some are stronger than others in different things. It's like me and you, Aki, can go into the gym. We both strong and we both can handle it. But you might be able to handle more weight than me right now because I haven't built my body up to handle that weight.
To get to that point, but eventually you will be able to.
You get what I
That's
mean?
when training comes into play.
So
Definitely.
everybody definitely has a strength, and I feel like in the community that's iron sharpens iron. In your community, you see nobody in the community really is weak. Everybody's just very strong in one area and can help someone else who's not as strong. You know what I'm saying? Build it up to
Build that up to become. Love that, Aki. Love that. This next key point, number 7, be inclusive. Welcome everybody, full of diversity, no matter where they're from, their background, sexual preference, etc. You get better results when you have different walks of life because you're not catering to just one type of group of people. It helps create a diversity of ideas. You want to avoid everyone having the same way of doing things. You want others to come in to challenge the norm with fresh ideas and fresh perspective. When it's politely and respectfully discussed, can create possible innovation and interesting new experiences.
definitely like diversity, man.
Full of diversity, all different walks of life. And when I'm in the stream, Aki, what's so special about TikTok that I enjoy is that it literally will be somebody from a different city, state, overseas, country. It's amazing the potential behind that. You know what I'm saying? To have all that type of life there under one roof in one room, even if we have, some people have a hard time trying to converse in a way because they don't speak English, so they're down below trying to get our attention. But for the most part, like that full diversity in our community, in the Soul Fam community, I mean, we have all different colors, shapes, sizes, different types of jobs. Some are mothers, some are parents, some are singles, some are not. And we treat everybody with empathy, compassion, love, and respect. You know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, man. I mean, I used to work in Santa Monica, Aki. It's the beach that's out here, right? The famous Santa Monica Pier, and I used to work down there, right? Excuse me. I would say that was the second, and one of the most diverse. And when I say diverse, I mean diverse to its full term, diverse places I've ever worked at. Because first of all, for those who don't know or never heard of, or maybe know a little bit about Santa Monica, California, it is one of our historical beaches that we have here that has been in many different old movies. Has been, things have happened to it, all type of stuff. It has been into different movies. It has the Route 66 sign down there, all type of stuff, right? And when I work down there, when I say there's so many different walks of life, like you have homeless people who are homeless because of, drug addiction. You have homeless people there because they've lost everything that they had. You have homeless people there because of gambling addictions. You have people there who are business owners who enjoy just being down by the beach. You have people who are musicians who are here to make a quick buck. You have people who call street performers performing on the promenade and getting money in that nature, but they still have regular lives. They just perform there on the promenade. They're not homeless or anything like that. You have people who are in school. You have people who are in internships. You have people who are running businesses. You have all type of people, and the people that I worked with were people from all different type of places, countries, everything. Because Santa Monica is like the Vegas of California, other than Hollywood, when it comes down to its diverseness in people, because everybody is Santa Monica essentially
Is that like the go-to tourist spot first before Hollywood? One of them
go-to tourist spots
other than Hollywood.
Yeah, when you come to California, is to go to Santa Monica Promenade and to go to the beach and stuff like that. Is because of the pier. People want to see the pier. You get to go on the pier, walk on the pier, do certain things. And on the pier, they have the arcade. They have an arcade there. They have a Ferris wheel there, a whole little growing thing like there.
There's a lot of history.
Definitely, man. I mean, and it's really, and Santa Monica is literally like 20 minutes away from Malibu Beach, so it has a history there too because of the fact that it's the beach next to Malibu. You can see Malibu from Santa Monica and Santa Monica from Malibu.
That's nice.
That's how close they are to each other.
Nice.
And stuff like that. But when I worked there, man, like there's so much diversity there, so many different people, different countries, different accents, different there was this one lady named Paula. She was from Boston, and you can hear it in her accent. I love their accent because it fit her, and it was her character. We had another girl named there that was her, we called her V, and she was from Africa. From Africa. You have people from Guatemala. You have people from different parts of Mexico. You have people from different states: New York, Texas, Colorado, Oklahoma. You have people from different countries, Trinidad. You have people from all over the world, bro. But working there, one thing that I realized that was a great community, and that's where I became a team leader. And that's when I realized how effective a community can be when you really have a community and people who truly enjoy you as a person, and each other as a people. Because what essentially ended up happening is that I made a name for myself there. Everybody, really enjoyed me, but I was being myself so much that when I became a team leader, I was a lead there, that I had a lot of respect where people were doing daily routines that we do every day. I didn't have to come in and anything. Like if I was late to work, man, everybody was set and ready to start working before I got there. All I had to do was come there, say what I needed to say to get them to validate everybody for the rest of the day, tell them that whatever news, and everybody was ready to work. And I had appreciated that so much because it was you have different I'm at the time I was only 30, 31, 32 years old, and I have people who are 55, 60 years old, 47, people who are older than me that were working underneath me, but respected me to that level where that's what was happening in that little community right there. And it's funny because me and my wife we both worked for the same company in the same location, and we were the same type of personalities that people were attracted to when it came down to that. You know what I'm saying?
Were you and your wife together at that time?
No, we got together then, though. We did. We first started when we first started off when I first got there. No, but right before we left and stuff like that in our family. Yeah, no, that's where we met each other and started our family from there. was because
Beautiful.
you have so many different walks of life there. You get to learn different people, new things, new different ways of thinking, new seeing things, and then you're dealing with homeless people and their different mentalities, and you're dealing with different business owners and their mentalities of what they want and the way they feel towards the homeless people. You're dealing with different tourists from out of the country who don't speak English, so you have to try to communicate with them. You have different people who just from all over the place, man, and you just have to. We were called hospitality ambassadors. And our specific duty was to be hospitable to all of our guests in our community. And that's where I learned that. So diversity, I can stand firm and with a surety and let you know that in the community, diversity is one of the greatest things that could happen in a community. When it comes to community building, is you definitely want diversity. You want a lot of walks of life from different things, but you want good people. You want people who have overcome and know how to overcome, or at least are not afraid to ask for help to overcome situations when it comes down to building a community. You don't want people who are going to hinder your community or tear your community apart.
Good point, Aki. Good point. Because right now there's also things that happen in the space where because it's successful and the success continues to grow in the Soul Fam community, people tend to lean on us for reasons that are outside of our control. Like they'll come in and they're going through like a serious financial issue, and they'll try to seek financial assistance from a community like ours, knowing that everybody in the community have their own foundations they have to worry about, right? Especially now in the era that we're in currently, where things seem a little bit more difficult, and people are battling things behind the scenes with their own health issues, certain things, maybe a death in the family, those are costly. Trying to maintain their personal foundation, that's costly. So people will come in seeking some kind of help with their personal situation, homelessness, about to lose this, about to lose that. All we can do in the best interest in a situation like that is provide you good information and resources that can help you with that situation. Now, can I help, with potentially sending something through a GoFundMe or whatever like that? Absolutely. Whatever I can do to help somebody else. Like, for instance, recently in a particular tournament, somebody won the particular tournament and they thanked me in a way down below. And they said, hey, this was a blessing in disguise because I was going through something with my son. You know what I mean? So I paid attention to what we offer in the space and what that can do for somebody else's family, which is something special. If you're able to provide a blessing to somebody else's family, then I would see that as good karma, coming back around for yourself and for others around you. But when people are coming in, seeking some type of financial assistance, you have to pick and choose who you help, because you don't know how far in truth that really is, especially in a game like social media, right? Because you got to see receipts. You got to see it, you know what I mean? Like, if you really going through this, you got to really let us know and show us that you're really going through this. You can't just say that and think that we're going to grab all our community resources and financial backing and just help you off of the sheer of just helping you, because there have been people that have claim that they're going through something and they're really not. It's just to put a crazy bag in their pocket, which is fraud.
I mean, yeah, I don't agree with that tactic, but it makes sense as a way of getting money, We as humans tend to aid those in need. That we feel kind in our heart as a good deed and things like that. And unfortunately, because of our human error in that manner, it is easily manipulated and taken advantage of because of that.
and I want to help as much as, and that's another thing, Aki, is, you know, when you become successful, and I mean extremely successful, the preparation of being able to say no to somebody, you know, is going to be difficult, but it's going to have to be done eventually. Because what ends up happening when you take care of a world of whatever around you, you know, your immediate family, then their family, then your friends and their families, right?
Mhm.
What happens when you get exhausted and then now you need help? Those people are not going to be there for you. And that's the tough thing about this world, that you can take care of everybody when you're up, but when you're down by yourself. You know what I mean?
Hey,
And
man,
that's a tough pill to swallow, Aki.
I already had the dose of reality. Me and my wife both. I'm sure you've had your reality dose at a time and point in your life and stuff like that. That you come in, you do realize that, you know, what I mean, it's sometimes you doing all of this for everybody else, and then nobody got you the same way you know you got
You got them.
But at the end of the day, Yahweh still always has you. God still always has you in a way that you have to still hold on to that and have faith in that, because he still got you.
100%.
And
Love that.
he sees you going out of your way to do this for this person that's not appreciating what you're doing. So when the time is right, he will show you how much he appreciates you.
Powerful. Powerful. With that being said, this is the 8th key point: inclusive leadership. People mimic behavior they think will get them ahead. A kind, collaborative, and empathetic leader, you'll get others who will pick up those traits as well if you were the total opposite. So when you focus on good qualities, like mentioned, being kind, nice, and friendly, you create a community that recognizes that.
Again, Aki, that goes back to, like I said, the day I came into work and I seen everybody had their walkie-talkies, had they books out, they did their stretches, their names, everything was signed in. Like, these are the daily routines that they have to do in order before we get our day started, before I get to talking about what the day's going to be like. All of that stuff was done. I was late to work for some reason, but then I get there and they wait, and they didn't already, everybody didn't stretch and everything. Like, I don't know who decided to get everybody to do it, but when I got to work, that's what they showed me. And what I got told was, and what it told me was, how great of a leader I was. And I didn't even realize it. Like, I was just being me. I was just being me. But how much respect they have for me because of how much of a leader I was to them, and putting them in the positions and getting them, you know, looking forward to their day, that they did that for me. They took the extra out of me and just, you know, made it that much more successful for us to go about that day, you know, being inclusive, kind, and nice to all of them in the same respectable manner, making sure everybody had the opportunity to speak their part and speak what they needed to say, giving everybody the opportunity to understand, communicating between upper management and everybody else in the working field and things of that. Like, that was me being a person, me being myself, right? And, you know, still to this day, I could see that you know what I'm saying, that's my community. I can go back to Santa Monica right now. If everybody is still there, I will get treated the same way as if I never left.
That's special, Aki, when you have that. That's special.
So that it's a valid point. You want to definitely have inclusiveness in there. You know what I'm saying? Be inclusive with them.
Noni says this podcast.
Very welcome.
Thank you, Dewan and JR. Man, that means the world to us, guys.
Man, you don't even understand how big my heart's smiling right now.
Yeah, that means the world to us, guys. And you know, we foresee something very special down the line when it comes to people receiving this podcast and coming across it when we wrap up season 3, and the way we get busy on our promo. The work is never finished. You know, but we're willing to do it to be able to have moments like this. She says, "I'm happy crying." I love that.
I'm happy crying too.
I love that.
My baby's sad crying. I'm sorry about that.
with number 9, key 9, after inclusive leadership, number 9 key point is celebrating stories, celebrating wins. Pull something out from a story that is a lesson and something that you can learn. Share the stories that are happening everywhere in the community. Celebrate them publicly. And when others get involved, it becomes a shared experience and responsibility that generates more results and potentially creates something amazing, which recognizes and validates the importance of everyone in the community.
Like what you do all the time, Maki, when you highlight different members of the community and you tell me different things, or I learn different things about what you guys got going on and who did what. You celebrate them in a manner of who, what they're doing and who's happening, what they're, what they've been through and things of that nature, without saying too much or doing anything.
Yeah, without giving too much.
But
Yeah.
but you do it in a way that I get involved, and now they get the praise and validation and things, the same things from me. And some of the members I know, some of them I don't. And
yeah, whenever you get an opportunity, Aki, and you have any spare time on your end and you want to hop in that that high level Discord conversation, you'll see it. You'll see us highlighted with like microphones. It'll have like a microphone icon, the same way we conversate during lunchtime in the Unified Media Group on Facebook. On Instagram, is the same way we kind of do it with Discord with the community. So that way, because I can tell people talk highly of you, especially when we get off the podcast, Aki. I get hit with all kinds of DMs and messages like, yo, that guy's one of a kind. I'm glad you have him as a co-host. There's something special about him. We get you get all the praise, Aki. You get all the praise, and we appreciate you for that.
It's being me, man. I'm just sorry
Listen.
about it. I know y'all been seeing me wipe my head. It's hot.
Snoopy, only Snoopy knows this. I have. There's one time I have broken down. I broke down. I had a moment, and I believe I dropped some tears in high level when I was completely. I don't know. It happens. It happens. And us men, we hold back our emotions. We don't showcase them often, but I was able to express myself in a way because they get me through the storm. They help me get through the storm.
You released some energy, some stale energy that needed to be released, Aki.
And I wanted to be transparent. I wanted them to see that I have strong qualities as a leader for the community and as a host during these streams. But I there's also a side of me that's filled with humility, and I'm willing to expose myself to also let them know that I'm also human as well, and I have emotions, and I go through the motions, so to speak, when things hit the fan.
The word humility. I mean, and I don't know if y'all can see it, but the first part of that word is a human. And when you start really recognizing and stop shying away from that, it becomes easy to be humble.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
This is what happens, and I trust me. I've seen go through some stuff too.
Yeah. Especially in the other side of me, and that's a side that the community may have seen once or twice on TikTok during a live stream.
It was
I've snapped.
Needed though. I know, but as it was needed.
Right. And I told you the situation with the particular individual,
and
and I remember you telling me, you were like, there was something about him that was kind of off.
It all came back around full circle the way it needed to, you know what I'm saying? But it's in those moments, when you have those moments and members in the community that we all can share in those things, that helps us become stronger. One because now we empathize with each other, not only on that level, but however, because of our empathy towards each other, we also grow a passion to want to help and uplift. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely helps the push the community to greater heights and levels because of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we all have to be hella personal to the point where I know your social security number and how many kids you had, and you know, when you got that scratch on your toe back when you was 2 years old. But to know a person, you know, some of their likes, what their aspirations are, you know, different things that they're skilled in and have a great wealth of knowledge in. You know, when you have those type of conversations in the community, or you have that type of community building, now you can, you know, you guys can all come together and put things together, like literally put stuff together. Like I commemorate and commend Cameron and Mace. Originally Cameron, what he did was he wanted to make a podcast, and you can go watch this because he put this out there. He wanted to create a podcast, but he wanted to create a podcast in a way where he can be normal, just like how we are, but it looks professional. We can talk normal and do this, but it looks professional. And he invested all of the money.
He created a show.
Yeah, he created his show, and and you know, had a community. Already had a community building and stuff like that. Right. As a thing, and now that whole community of thing, you know what I'm saying, that they got going on, him and Cameron and Mace, you know, is working for him.
Right.
You know, and it helped, but you know, that was his way of getting in and stuff like that. We all have our different ways of, you know, doing things, but he had to look at himself. He had to humiliate himself a little bit, just to humble himself enough, just to, you know, go down and say, you know what, I want to do that too, but how can I do it in a way where I'm sticking to me but still keep it this way? And now it looked like it's like a podcast about current events and stuff in the sports world and in hip hop world, but it looked like you was watching MTV's, you know, or like you was watching the halftime show at one of the games and stuff.
At like one of the games, real quick, when they're sitting down and they're talking about the game and the highlights.
Yeah, and that's how he has it set up like that. But he's, you know, being himself, him and Mace being themselves, dressed the way they want to dress, look, you know, like got you know, whatever they doing on there. It's like hood professional. It's like everything you would expect from
Cam and Mace.
Yeah. And I'm you know what I'm saying, I commend them for doing that, because it took ingenuity and it took the ability a vision to see that, and then to go and say, you know what, I want to be different when it comes to this, but I want to do it still to where it originates and be me. You know,
definitely.
And I can express myself in a manner where you know, it's safe, and people who follow me and stuff like that can come in and feel safe.
The last key point, Aki, number 10, be intentional. Do it right. Maximize the experience.
Excuse
me. Provide value, like these key points. They hang, the ones that hang more, spend more time, become regulars. Then they see your value. They become core members. And then you have the ones who will love and be super obsessive about it. So here it's almost like the phase of when people join your community. They first become casual. They see the stream. They see the community. They fill it out. They come again. They fill it out. They may come for a week or two. They fill it out. Then they become regulars, where they see your value. And then after a couple months, it goes on to become core members who end up loving it and become super obsessive about the community you've built. So it's in stages. So you want to be intentional of those stages.
Now, Aki, tell me, what was your mindset going through those stages?
That's a really good question. Because for me, I am intentional when it becomes each stage, now that I have the experience. But going through the motion, I was just being me. You know what I'm saying? Until I started noticing that I had to actually chop them into phases to give me the opportunity to see more value in those core in those members,
Mm.
because I was jumping the gun where I was giving everybody too much opportunity. I was giving them a hand and they were taking a whole arm. You know, so now that I've learned from that experience and I learned from my mistakes, I have everybody put in phases now where somebody comes in, like for instance, my Discord, it's available to the public, but you can't gain access to all the incentives until you become a subscriber.
Nice.
Now, once you become a subscriber, you have access to all the rooms. And then even after you have access to all the rooms, you still have a 90-day, a 30 to 60-day phase that we watch you through, especially the moderators, where we won't really go to your stream and drop big on you or support whatever events you have until you show that same loyalty and love and support over here with the community. Because we have a large community. What do you look like coming in? Which a lot of it is done. People are like, I have a battle today. Can you come through? I have a birthday celebration. Can you help me get through the ranks? No, we just met you. You know, now once you build that rapport with us and you're around the community for about 30 to 60 days, yeah, we'll come around. We'll support that event. We'll support that celebration. We'll go support that battle. You gotta put them through the phases, because people are coming in and out of that stream. There's thousands of people, hundreds of people passing through, and when they see our type of community, people want to take advantage of that. But now we have these things in play, these community guidelines, these standards that we have.
That's man. It's funny because community, is something I think that we all have been looking for without understanding that's what we've been looking for.
Right.
Because and essentially what we're saying is people. I've heard the term, people have been trying to find their community, and some people have said they're trying to connect back to their family. And interesting enough, a lot of them when they mention connect back to their family, they're not speaking to the blood relatives that they come from. They're speaking to their family of where they belong to as a part of their purpose in society and in the world, right? Because whether we know it or not, we all are categorized regardless of how you feel about it when it comes down to race, creed, color, orientation, where you come from, origin, things that we're all separated wholly, if that makes sense, right? We're all one whole big thing, but in separate ways. But we're all members of this one. We're all members of the earth. And we're all, separated differently, but we're still all part of one. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes down to community, everybody's just trying to find where they belong and fit in that with like-minded individuals or those who relate to them. You know what I mean? And I feel like with Soul Family, the ones that are in there, the core ones that have stuck around there, have found their family of people that, outside of those that they are related to, who knows things, who've seen things, who have the same DNA type of structured and mind frame. They get the opportunity to find themselves where now they're in a place where other people and like-minded individuals make them feel comfortable, that they've been seen. They're always going to feel seen. And Soul Fam, everyone's always going to feel seen. And if they don't feel seen, that may be their reason why they don't feel seen. You get what I mean? But in the Soul Family, I know that's one of the biggest things when it comes down to the Soul Family, is that everybody gets the opportunity to be seen, to be heard, to be, engaged with, and things of that nature. 100%. And I feel like, and the world definitely needs that. And I'm glad we are all coming to that place. It's the tough thing, or the thing we all are having a tough time going with, is getting to that and finding the right, community and family to align ourselves with, and things like that. But I believe everybody has a family that's out there for that.
Definitely. And that's definitely one of the values that we provide. And one thing that I want to do different before we head out, Aki, today, since we're talking about community, this is what we're going to do for the ones that are in the chat that stood out
Appreciate
this
y'all.
whole entire stream. I appreciate it. We want to do this. Usually I ask ONTL Dewan one key piece that we spoke about today that stood out to him. But instead, we're going to ask you guys in the chat. Noni, if there's one thing that you can take from this episode today that stood out to you, that hit home, and same thing for you, Snoopy, what would be the key point that you took from this podcast and why? Let us know in the chat. What was it that really stood out for you? What hit home? And we'll go ahead and emphasize
There
on
was
that.
there's a lot.
There was a lot of gems. There was definitely a lot of gems. And the one thing that stood out for me, Aki,
just those
the-
10 points.
yeah, the one thing that stood out to me, Aki, is when I seen them go in the chat and talk about what kept them coming back. You know what I mean? And what they appreciated about the space.
Mhm.
And for me, that's a validation that I'm doing my job. That I'm doing
Yes,
my
you are,
job.
Aki.
to provide
Yes, you
value.
are, Aki. I
So
mean, look, I keep coming back, man.
I wouldn't have it any other way, Aki, because without you, none of this exists, brother. So I appreciate you.
It is what it is. It's one of those things where
Noni says Soul Family is the one thing that she took was that I feel loved. And
Mhm.
Snoopy says the one thing that I took is being there to celebrate others.
Nice.
Being
See,
there to celebrate others,
Oh,
and
man.
Noni feeling loved.
Well, that's what it's about. At the end of the day, love is the ruling factor in the world. It rules
Yeah.
over everything, and if
Mm.
you don't understand that,
We
you
feel
don't have-
love, we feel pain universally.
yeah, of course, and that is the definition of who the higher intellect is, the higher self is, your spiritual being is love and pain. Those are the two.
Mm.
When you celebrate and validate people, you make them happy. You help them feel better.
Mm.
So right, Snoop. So right, Snoop. So right. When you really help celebrate someone else and validate other people, it not only helps them, makes them happy, but it also you do feel that sheer good emotional sense of like proud of yourself moment, like, damn, I made somebody feel good today. That made me feel good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've done a good thing, and you've done the best thing. You've done something to help. I mean, we all had it, but I can't tell you how many times I've had that experience where I've changed someone's day.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, literally just by saying something or just giving them, like, validating them and paying attention to something that they hoping somebody paying attention to that they know nobody pays attention to. You know what I mean? Like, I was on a bus one time going to work, and this dude, you could tell he was a hardworking father, but he was just having a rough time, and he was in a rough situation, in a tough situation, but he had both of his sons on the bus with him, and I'm on my way to work, and him and his sons came and they just sat right behind me, and I'm just watching them and I just kept hearing this voice, well, my voice, of course, but I just kept hearing it scream out, says, you know what I'm saying, tell him he's doing a good job, tell him he's doing a good job. And I looked at him, and he connected, and I was just like, hey, man, it's like, and I smiled, looked at his sons, and was like, man, you're doing a good job raising your sons, man. You know what I'm saying? Keep it up. And his whole energy changed and shifted, because it was, to him, he felt like all of the things that he's ever been going through and dealing with and having to battle when it comes down to his sons and him trying to take care and deal with his sons, he felt like he had the opportunity to win. Like, because what happened is that day he was taking his sons to Knott's Berry Farm for their birthday. He'd been having a hard time trying to get money so he can take them for their birthday, and then he'd been having a hard time dealing with the mother of their children, because of his current situation, and he felt like everything has been weighing against him and stuff like that, to the point where he had to take his child out of school to like hey, you know what, you're gonna miss school today because I want to take you somewhere, and I need to do this. Like, he wanted to validate himself so much. And what happened was, me telling him that, hey man, you're doing a good job raising your sons, it allowed him that it, like, he almost cried because he felt like, damn, you see me. Like, I'm a stranger to him. I don't, I've never met this guy, seen this guy ever. I'm a stranger to him, but I said that to him, and I seen him, and it validated him to keep going. And then in turn, he turned around and was like, hey man, hey, you tell your dad, I know you don't know me, we don't know each other, but I mean, you tell your dad he did a very good job raising you. He was like, respects to you, brother, and respects to your dad for raising you to be the man that you are, man. Thank you, and I appreciate you. And even his sons told me goodbye, and they were the real magnets at the end of the day. Like, they were the reason why, and the whole thing got started. But it was just funny because, like, I just, all I said was that I was being told to tell him that, and what that did was help bring that man to a whole different drive for him and his son, and wanting to do better, and and become better in his situation, because I know he didn't want to be on the bus with his sons, and I know it was already tough because he's trying to take his sons to Knott's Berry Farm on his birthday, and he ain't got what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But that's when you are who you are, and you really take home and validate people, and just speak positive things to people, you can change their whole mood. You become happy. I felt good that day. I was on my way to work. I felt like I've done something that, I'm saying, like, I won that day. Like, I didn't and I wasn't looking for anything from it. I felt it needed to be said. And when he felt so good and told me that about what my dad has done for me, in me doing that action, it made me feel good, because I know, and my dad raised a good children. So, like, it just further shows, like, you got something nice to say, go ahead and say it. You ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. That's
Powerful.
what I grew up on.
Man, this podcast, this episode was very, very special to me, and I wouldn't have it no other way but to co-host it with Aki on TL Dewan. Your wisdom, your life experience, what you provide, what you have instilled in me as a father, as a husband, as a friend, as somebody that I can now consider family, is the reason why I created Soul Fam. One quick story before we head out. I opened up the community. It was first called come through the stream and just enjoy music, the Soul Train. I called it the Soul Train, right? And then as people are coming into the stream on TikTok, they're just enjoying the music. They're getting to know me. I wasn't hosting box battles. I wasn't hosting tournaments or anything like that. I was just known as the host that does the most. I was doing a bunch of giveaways and things like that. I invested in the brand, so to speak, when it was in its infancy. It went from Soul Train, but obviously I didn't want to have no serious issues with Soul Train MTV and something, and I upgraded it and branded it into the Soul Fam. One source, one energy. And I feel like when you provide key valid points like that, when you can provide and give somebody something good, some insight, something valuable, saying something nice or whatever to make their day better, essentially, that is something special that not too many people have, Aki. And for you to have that trait and be able to change somebody's day speaks a lot about your spirit, who you are, and the influence you're about to have leading forward in this space. I know that Noni, keeps thanking us, saying amens and prayers down below. She's looking forward to having you in the stream. You know what I mean? Whenever you have availability. Riri here says, amazing job, guys. Always coming through with wisdom to meet people where they are and uplifting them.
Of course.
Absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
What a special episode about building community and highlighting the Soul Fam in the process. Next week,
And look, in community is to commune. You know what I mean? So you got to pay attention to these things, man. Look, words are powerful. And they said in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God, right? And then the word was made flesh. So your word is your bond, man. I just, just throwing that out there as a way of when we dealing with community, everybody's basing everything based off of their word.
100%, 100%. So lead by example, lead by what you say, and your actions will speak louder than the words. So that's very, very important. On that note, episode 9, season 3, building community, will be wrapping up after we have our last episode, which will be episode 10. There might be a possibility we might have to postpone next week. I'll let you know for sure, Aki, because we're either going to be traveling out of town or there's going to be renovation being done in the house where I'm actually going to be upgrading the studio and moving the studio around to another part of the household. But if any of that occurs, I'll update you, swing you a text, check up on you and the family. Powerful episode, Aki. A lot of gems in this particular one, and I think this hit home for everybody. And if you guys enjoyed this and can give it to a friend or family member or somebody who will enjoy what we just provided today, share out this link when we end the stream, and I'll see you on another day. Appreciate you, Aki. Stay blessed, brother. Talk to you soon, man.